And with me right now is one of the co-owners of El Toro Pharmacy, Stuart Eddington. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
I should say we've met before, but it's been a while since you've been on here. Great to have you here today. And you know, El Toro Pharmacy is doing great. You had your grand opening not too long ago, a few months back. And people don't know, it's located right really across the parking lot from the senior center and over there by Polly's Pies as well. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at some of the grand opening here. And there's, is that Angeli there?
That's Angeli. Yeah. That's my wife on the left. That's Lucille. And there I am giving a talk.
Yeah, there you go. Well, again, it's nice to have you here today. We're going to talk about something that for a lot of folks, you know, is it's hard to wade through the Medicare plans. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that most people have to decide on when they're taking, especially multiple medications, is my plan going to be covering these? You know, they have the formulary and they have different tiers and things like that. So this is something that you folks can help out with, and there are a lot of people, though you have the official Medicare enrollment time, well, depending on your birth date and all, you can be rolling in Medicare throughout the year.
Correct. So the issue is that often you get a plan, or you get these supplemental plans coming out to you and saying this is the best one for you. There's a lot of stress for the seniors and choosing which one. You have no real idea what the total costs are going to be for the year.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have a program based exactly on what medication you are taking. Mm-hmm. So if you're on 7 drugs, what we do is we put those drugs into our system, and it'll tell you exactly what insurance will pay the best for you for that year.
Okay.
So what we can run probably 4 or 5, even 6 supplemental plans, and you can choose based on the costs of the supplemental plan which one will suit you best, tailor-made to the drugs that you are taking.
Okay.
Last year we were a little bit late getting to the party. We only took over our Toro Pharmacy late August, and obviously some of the enrollment had already started. But this year we want to get ahead of the game.
Okay.
So we're encouraging anybody, they don't need to be clients or customers of El Toro Pharmacy, if they need some help, just to send us a list of their medications. It's all obviously going to be very private. We won't share anything with anybody. Mm-hmm. We don't need to get their names or social security. And what we'll do is we'll give you a list of medications.
Okay.
And that will tell you actually exactly how much you're going to spend on your co-pays for the year, when you'll hit the donut hole,
right,
how long it'll take you to get out of it.
Okay.
It's a great little program.
And this is obviously tailored to this area because, as we know, with supplement plans, they can be vastly different from Orange County to San Diego to Riverside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not really well. It's not really tailored. You can still take advantage of maybe a supplemental plan that's in Riverside that will suit you.
Okay.
So it's really based. It's tailor-made to what medication you are taking.
Okay. Speaking of drugs, you know, the cost is seems, for some anyway, going up. Mm-hmm. And you've told me yourself, people have asked you. Now, of course, it's not you folks or any other pharmacy. You're following the same price guidelines as everyone. So why is this? Why are some seem to be going up in a time when you see other things going down in price, meaning not gas, but technology, technology, you know, things like that?
Well, truthfully, there's actually been deflation in medications.
Oh, okay.
Over the last few years. So far, we're looking back at 2017, your brand medication increased by about 8.8%, mm-hmm. but your generic medication, which is the more popular and the more widely used, decreased by about 17%.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's not passed on to the patient or the customer, and the reason is your PBMs. Obviously, they tie me up that I'm not allowed to discuss too much about them.
Okay, what's PBMs?
PBM is it's a pharmacy benefits management program, and they stand between your employees or your patients and the medical aid that they're on. So they administer that, and they decide which drugs you can take and how much they're going to charge you for those drugs.
Okay, now, so what you're saying is somebody's on their Medicare plan, mm-hmm. and you have to take drug XYZ. Mm-hmm. It's neither the Medicare plan nor you that is deciding the price of their drug. There's like a consortium. Or
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And what's happened in the past, when we saw a 1% increase in the total drug cost over the last 5 years, you've seen a 98% increase in the copays of the patient.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that the PBMs are pretty opaque and not very well regulated, so it's difficult to fight them.
Who runs them? The top drug manufacturers, basically?
Most of them are owned by manufacturers and insurance plans. So what they do is that they actually try and maintain your annual costs for the plans, and how they do that is they actually increase your copays. So your premiums stay the same and it looks all good because your premiums haven't gone up.
Yeah.
And yet you're paying more on your copay. So they're making the money up on the other side.
Okay.
Which is really unfortunate, yeah.
It's like going to the grocery store and looking at that, that little tub of yogurt that has stayed the same price for, 10 years,
right.
but it has decreased
and it's got
in size.
Smaller, correct.
Yeah, so one way or another.
Same idea.
Okay. All right, so, obviously, again, as I said, whether it's you folks or a different pharmacy or whatever, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that the retail pharmacist has to be put in the same basket as the manufacturers, distributors, and the PBMs. But I guess we all have to have some cause to be why the price of medication is increasing. I think we have to take some responsibility for that. I'm going to go through it quickly for you.
Sure, please.
Your manufacturers spend millions of dollars on resource and development of the new drugs. Normally they'll probably get that money back in the first year, but they then have a patent for 10 to 17 years.
Yes.
So you have this astronomical amount of money that you're paying for these brand drugs. If you had to change that and reduce the patency to maybe a 2-year or 3-year, the problem with that is that those those manufacturers may not be interested in doing any more research and development, so you don't have new drugs coming in. So we have an issue with that, and not much we can do about that. Once the patency comes out, then you have the generics coming in at a fraction of the cost. So that's the manufacturing side. The other point about the manufacturers is that the Americans are paying a lot more for the drugs than people outside of America.
Right.
So we manufacturing drugs in America. Let's say it costs $50 for me to buy a drug in America. I could buy that same drug for $5 as long as I'm exporting it out the country.
Wow.
So that's an issue that should be addressed, and I hope it will be addressed at some time. The next step is the distributors. They don't have much way to reduce the cost of drugs of brands because brands are what they are. They can't get them from anywhere else. And then there's the generics. And so obviously the distributors have some say in the actual cost of the generics, and they manage to negotiate some good prices for us as far as that's concerned.
Let me ask you something along those lines, and I've heard this before, that a lot of times you might have a drug that's nearing the end of their patent. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember hearing this years ago about Claritin, and what they did, they changed a little bit of the formula, became Claritin D or whatever it is. I may be kind of wrong on that, but now you get another 10 years of patent on there. And I've also seen with many drugs you see advertised on TV that maybe 2 or 3 years ago it's saying this is great for this particular ailment. Now you see the same drug saying, oh, it's good for this ailment as well, because they find out it's working.
Yeah.
But there's many ways that they can extend these patents, right?
Absolutely, and unfortunately that is a practice that they do. So what you normally have is a drug come out, and they know the patent's going to run out, so they start doing some more research, or they've done the research already and just waiting for the patent to change. Right. Where you take a tablet, maybe you need to take it 3 times a day. Well, they've got a formula that's slow release. It'll slowly release into the body, and you only have to take 1 tablet. So as the patency for the first one ends, they'll introduce this new drug, and again, they have patency on that. Yeah. Obviously, all the doctors change to the new 1-dose drug, and the other one falls away. Yeah, not a nice practice. Yes. Not very proud of the industry right now.
Well, you should be proud of El Toro Pharmacy,
I am very proud of El Toro
You folks
Pharmacy.
do. All of you. Everyone I've ever met that comes from there, are wonderful. Christina and, Angeli. Now, government support on this through your Medicare plan, or maybe there are folks that for whatever reasons, there's certain drugs that they just cannot afford. Are there some ways that they can maybe apply for some help? I know even some of the drug manufacturers say, we help out in certain ways.
Occasionally the drug manufacturers will step up for brand medication that's really expensive. Yeah. I'm not very political, but I can tell you now that the government can step in immediately and fix this problem for us.
Yes.
Why don't they? Well, there's no real initiative to do it because healthcare represents almost 29% of our GDP.
Yeah.
Why would you want to reduce the amount of money that we're making out of that? That's the first issue. The second issue is, I don't know if you managed to see 60 Minutes last Sunday.
No, I didn't.
It was a great episode on how the big pharma were able to shut down the FBI, investigating them at the height of the narcotic epidemic that we have. So you're fighting somebody like that.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult. And then obviously you have people like Pfizer spending $16 to $17 million a year lobbying governments. So their pockets are pretty well padded, and they don't have the the drive to want to change that for us. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Well, as I said, you guys give a lot of help to the community. It is what it is. In certain things, you have to kind of follow along with what it is. Maybe that'll change one day. But whether it's Stuart or Angeli or Lucille, did I pronounce your wife's names right? Mm-hmm. Or anyone, Christina down there, they can really help you out at El Toro Pharmacy and try and steer you into the best they will steer you to the best medication, but the best price point, and really help you figure out what the best Medicare plan will be for you based on your medications, of course.
Yeah, if there's any takeaway from this, whether you're a customer or not, please come in and check your medications. On average, even though it was a short time last year, we saved the patient about $2,200 for the year. So it's really worth.
Highly recommend it. Do that now, even if you are currently enrolled and you don't do that till what is the first week of October or something like that. To know that in advance, start doing your research now, so you're not waiting till the last minute.
And don't be strong-armed by all those companies coming to you and saying, "Hey, we're the best," because they may be a good company, but they may not be tailor-made for what the medication you're taking.
Stuart, thank you
so
very much.
I appreciate it.
Great talk.
Thank you
for coming on.
Thanks
we'll be
very
right
much.
back.